happen backwards.
Right. Javier, in terms of Latin America, is there a big difference? Is it sort of picking up faster than Western markets are?
Yes, I think there are big differences, but I'd like to start saying something. From the perspective, before you were mentioning about how, when you had the chart with the artists in the center, I think I would like to give the collectors a bit more credit. I think actually I would build a chart where the artist and the collector will be at the same level. Because if we look at our society from the 15th century and on, what has legitimized the artwork has been the collector. Without the collector, the artist will probably still be considered artisans. They'll be working like making chairs, or the artwork will not really be considered part of the intellectuality. And one of the reasons why, one of the primary reasons why collectors collect is because of the emotional intellectual component of art collecting. So art collecting in Latin America is not, also not validated by the same inverted triangle. In Latin America, there's been a tradition for collecting, and it's a very old tradition, and people have been doing it for emotional, intellectual reasons as well. And the way the artists are validated are primarily by the art collectors. The art collectors start collecting the work. The art collectors talk among themselves. The art collectors participate in exhibitions, although the limits, the museums in Latin America, they're very limited with their budgets. However, they still have support from many times from private groups, corporations, that they want to do social work in Latin America, and the way to do it is to support exhibitions by these artists. So, and then later on, after the collector validates the work, and I think that's usually the way it also happens in contemporary art at large. First is the collector, then one is looking at the pieces, and the gallery owners. The gallery owners are really the ones that are out there supporting the new artists and promoting them. Then we have the collectors that are validating those works. And they're also the taste creators. The first taste creator was the Count of Arundel in England in the court of Charles I. That was one of the first people that were out there hunting for works. And once those works are validated, then they go into the museum, in the museum level. The problem is when we get the auction houses involved and you start jumping levels. And some of those artists, they go from having very little value to being way overpriced. And when an artist skips that process and you leave behind the true collectors, then that artist is left without a basic solid ground. And when the artist is left without a strong base, and you go into the next higher level, and you try to put it in museums are going to tell you which of our collectors in our board, which has validated this artist before us. Nobody. So museums are also looking at what the collectors are doing. And like I said, in Latin America, this process is, the collectors are not new. They've been collecting for many years. They have been very quiet because people talk about a boom in Latin American art. I don't think there's quite a boom. The markets have been, the growth, which probably Professor Moses can tell you about, the growth of Latin American art hasn't been exponential. It's been quite moderate, and it's been growing for many years, but it hasn't grown crazy, with a few exceptions. No? But even modern paintings, starting from the social realists, like Diego Rivera and Siqueiros and Orozco, or you took at the constructivists like Torres Garcia, or the surrealists like Mata or Lam, I'm talking about modernism, right? It's taking them decades to consolidate the prices. I mean, it's not new. So I think the Latin American market is a little bit different from the rest of the emerging markets. That's at least my opinion.
Jonathan, you're nodding. You're just nodding. That sounds good one, though. I think what I want to look at as well is